the way this is pertinent to what we're going to talk about today is crime. Is like, look how Fox News is already talking about this. You hit play on this video, man.
His home wasn't better protected is kind of beyond me. I mean, in light of the status of he's married to what, the second person in line for the presidency. Seems like Pelosi needs to reevaluate, and especially her security, especially in a violent city of San Francisco. I've spent a lot of time up in San Francisco, and it is violent. It is imperative also that we don't make this a partisan issue. This happens to members of Congress of all parties, Supreme Court justices, and even people in my family. I mean, living in the celebrity world. I mean, I've received hundreds of death threats, publicly, privately, every day, all the time. And especially, actually, after I joined Fox News, it only got worse. I mean, this is, you kind of take it with the territory of being an outspoken public figure. It is disgusting and it's wrong. Soft on crime liberals, politicians running to actually defund the police, release violent criminals.
I mean, the dude literally broke in the house screaming, "Where is Nancy?" Right? Like as he's flailing the hammer around. It's like, it seems pretty partisan to me. Like it's always like, why do we really need to bring politics into this when it's like some inherently political and awful thing? And also, I'm kind of surprised that shit like this don't happen more often, really, with the level of crazy people. I've settled for a long time about most of these types that, like, I think most of them are, at their basis level, just straight up cowards. They're huge pussies, most of them, I think, and they're all bark and no bite. But I would think there would be enough of them statistically that some wild shit like this would happen more often than it does. But
yeah, I mean, we've been pretty lucky. Somebody else made this point that we've been very lucky. There's been a bunch of these incidents. Like, for example, when that guy who's also a crazy person with weird politics who sort of overlapped with Bernie's a little bit shot Steve Scalise at that congressional softball game. If there hadn't been, if Steve Scalise didn't have a private security detail to take that guy down, he could have killed like a dozen or 2 dozen Congress people. And
then there was Gabby really Giffords, different. Right? That was another one.
Yeah,
in Arizona.
So like, none of this stuff is like, America's had these periods of like, stochastic terrorism before. Like we're all very familiar with the top big name assassinations from the 60s and 70s, but also a bunch of domestic bombings and near miss assassinations. A guy tried to assassinate the Secretary of Defense. No one ever talks about that one, but it was MLK, Bobby Kennedy, JFK. Medgar Evers, Fred Hampton. It goes on. Fred Hampton was killed by the FBI, but that's a whole different thing. But like I don't know what to make of it. But like this is what Fox News took hours to talk about this, and when they did, it became filtered into San Francisco as a crime-ridden hellhole. And this is because she in one breath. So there were 3 beats to her segment right there. She talked about how Nancy Pelosi is responsible because she didn't have better security, which. There are already conspiracy theories out there. I saw some right-wing influencers saying that this is the same thing Pelosi did on January 6th, which is intentionally have bad security so that a false flag attack will be successful. And then the second beat, she says, this shouldn't be partisan. And then she pivots to, this is actually the fault of liberals for soft on crime policies. San Francisco, nowhere in America has soft on crime policies. We're a deeply panicked people, which we're going to talk about later. But like, this is just a bunch of horse shit, and
right. I've been to San Francisco a few times, but I wouldn't claim to know how dangerous it is or is not. But I would have to assume that whatever the neighborhood is that Nancy fucking Pelosi lives in San Francisco is probably not like a fucking John Carpenter movie, crime-ridden hellhole. I would assume, but
yeah,
what do I know?
San Francisco is actually pretty safe. We're going to talk about that like later, because I could say it's less dangerous than cities no one talks about.
Right.
But it's just but San Francisco has population smaller than Jacksonville and is less dangerous, and people talk about it like it's fucking Afghanistan or something. And it's all so bizarre to me. And she goes on this clip to talk about how it's the fault of like bail reform, which like this guy was not on bail. And also, I'm not sure what kind of policing response would stop one lone guy who's not on law enforcement's radar from breaking into a house and hitting someone with a hammer. Like, I guess a cop in every room of every house. I don't know what the fuck. By the way, the cops were there when he got hit with the hammer, and Paul Pelosi's in surgery for head trauma right now. They say he's expected to recover, but like no one knows. I mean, things go wrong with surgeries and shit. And yeah, I don't know. The whole thing just fucking sucks, man. And no one should be hit with a hammer. I don't have to go on. I just did. We here, Skews, are against people getting hit in the head with hammers.